Since when I was a child, I always used to watch videos. I mean, not videos. There were shows that time. I didn't have a phone that time. I used to watch shows about science and stuff. Uh, and I remember in some of those episodes, uh, they were discussing and through animations how life started, how the first cell was formed, and how it all just emerged, how chemistry became biology. Yeah, how the life started in simple volcanic vents, where it could have started, how could have started, like all of those things. I still watch things like that um, in my free time every time. But there's one thing which keeps bothering me every time, and the question is like, listen, like, suppose the first cell is formed. The first cell, I am talking right about the moment where chemistry changed to biology. It's biochemistry, right? The first cell didn't have any specialized cell walls or specialized semi-permeable membranes or anything. It didn't even have a uh, defined nucleus in it. But what it did was kind of confusing to me. For some reason, the first cell ever decided to replicate itself. Okay, let's hold on here for a second and let's say that this is a cell. Okay, this matchstick is the first cell. Now, if it's the first cell and it wants to live longer, for some reason, it wants to live longer, then what one thing it could do is to grow bigger and bigger, or once it had grown big enough, it could start replacing and repairing its own parts, replacing and repairing its own parts that can live longer and longer. And at one time, whenever something fails, it can repair it once again, right? Simple. I mean, it's not very hard to repair again and again a small cell. Repairing is a real deal in multicellular big life forms, right? It's a simple cell. It's just a simple cell. So why did it try to replicate itself and perform reproduction? So is it that reproduction is a mutation or something else? Like, I cannot get this through it. If the first cell tried to live longer, then why did it repair itself? And even if it did repair itself and it failed to repair itself, okay, let's say it's a cell. It didn't have the thought of replicating itself and or reproduction. So it grew bigger and bigger, and started repairing itself again and again, all over and over. But at one point, it couldn't repair itself more. Okay, it has now reached a certain limit where it cannot repair itself even more and more. So it dies. There was no scope of evolving in such a manner that reproduction was possible. I mean, if even if it repaired itself all over and over again, it would certainly die, and then another cell would form. It would try to do the same thing, and that information that repairing doesn't work will not pass on to the other generation, because other generation doesn't even exist. Then it may be possible that one cell came which was doing the same thing, trying to grow bigger and bigger. And when I am talking that a new cell came, I am talking that all out of all the probabilities, just like the first cell was formed from simple chemistry to to simple biology. Sorry, from complex chemistry to simple biology, and the same thing happens with when every new cell comes. So it's a pretty high chance of probability of forming these. So I think that when the first cell came, I mean, not the first cell, many cells after, it was trying to do the same job, repairing itself, but for some reason, due to something like mutation or something, it decided to reproduce. It decided to replicate itself. So now, the information that repairing doesn't work can be passed on to the new generation, so that this thing, so that the new generation now knows that repairing doesn't work, and it has to develop a system to continuously reproduce itself.